Hello. In my two previous videos, I've been discussing the electrical activity of your brain and describing ways in which you can use this in order to manage your anxiety, reduce stress, and improve performance. In this and my next video, I'm going to tell you about how you could use not so much your brain directly, but your skin in order to learn how to relax more deeply and efficiently. You'll be using what is still called, although it's a very old-fashioned term now, galvanic skin response monitoring. Today, more correctly, we tend to use the term electrodermal response, that is measuring changes in the conductivity of the skin. Now, the goal of biofeedback is to enable your conscious mind to become more aware of and control what your body is doing. How fast your heart is beating, for example, how fast you're breathing, how relaxed you feel. Galvanic or electrodermal biofeedback uses equipment like this one in order to give you information about what your body is doing and to send this information to the brain so it can reduce anxiety rather than increasing anxiety. Let's take a look at our amazing outer covering, our skin. With a surface area of between 16 and 22 square feet, your skin is your body's second largest organ. It's beaten in size only by the inside of your small intestine, and this tends to be about 50 to 20 times larger than the surface area of the skin. This model of the skin shows some of the, on average, 650 sweat glands, 20 blood vessels, and more than 1,000 nerve endings, which are contained within each square inch of a piece of skin. Your skin is divided into 4 distinct layers. At the top, we have the epidermis, with the dermis directly beneath it. Beneath that is the subcutis or hypodermis, and this overlays the muscle fibers. This is a hair follicle, and these are the veins and arteries which ensure your skin is continuously supplied with the food and oxygen essential for it to stay alive. Finally, we come to the structures directly involved in this type of feedback, what are called the eccrine sweat glands, and I'm showing you these here. When the outside temperature rises above about 30 degrees centigrade, these start to produce sweat in order to help keep us cool through evaporation. They also produce sweat whenever we start to become anxious. You may have noticed that as anxiety rises, your hands become wet and clammy, which brings us back to biofeedback. In 1780, an Italian physician named Luigi Galvani found that the muscles of dead frogs could be brought back to life. They twitched when they were struck by an electrical spark. He had discovered the electrical properties of the nerves and muscles. Your brain communicates with via electrical activity, and these are how signals are sent to your muscles. Now, about a century later, a French doctor called Charles Sommer-Feret noted that anxiety causes an increase in the current flowing through the body, in the conductivity of the skin. He made the first ever study of what in 1915 came to be called galvanic skin response, or GSR more commonly. GSR feedback, biofeedback, works by introducing a tiny electrical current through electrodes fast to fingers or the palms of the hands. These electrical messages travel down one set of sweat glands and return to the device by another set. As sweat increases, the glands become more conducive to electrical current, to conducting electrical current. So this can be shown in a number of ways. We can measure this and we can show it as a readout. First, we have the movement of a pointer across a dial and or a changing sound. Many devices incorporate both sound and some kind of physical visual indication. They can also show your level of stress as a numerical readout. This device will give you either 3 or 2 figures in the reading. And then there are lights which change colour, for example from red if you are very tense to green as you become more relaxed. And the final method, which is what we use in the laboratory, is via a computer program, so we can read not only, as you can see here, not only skin resistance but also heart rate variability. Now, some years ago when I first started my research, I demonstrated with a client how simply by breathing more rapidly one can quickly increase the level of what is called sympathetic arousal on the part of our ancient fight, flight or freeze response. This is a way we respond to any kind of danger. We can either fight, or we can run away, or we can remain motionless in the hope we won't be spotted. By the way, you'll find a number of videos on the relationship between breathing and relaxation and anxiety on our website here, on the Mind Changers website. As you will see and hear in this short demonstration, I used a biofeedback device which displayed changes in anxiety or sympathetic arousal both on a dial and with a rising sound. So let's take a look at this video. As I say, it was made about 40 years ago, the days when I had a bit more hair.
Here in the consulting room, we can actually demonstrate the relationship between breathing and levels of stress using biofeedback equipment. Well, this is equipment which measures what's going on inside the system and allows us to see it, in this case on a dial and also by a varying sound. So Tony, if I could just demonstrate this, you could just give me your right hand for the moment. I'm going to put onto your palm an electrode, and this is going to measure your level of physical arousal, which is associated with levels of stress. And when I switch it on, you'll see the needle start to move up the dial. Now what I'd like you to do is to start breathing very rapidly, as though you're panicking, really hyperventilate. Now instantly, thank you, that's fine, instantly the needle swings right the way around the dial. Now, as you start to relax a little, it comes back down again. If you'd like to breathe rapidly again, that's fine. We see the needle shoot up again. So controlling your breathing is one of the most basic ways in which you can control the amount of stress you're suffering.
Later, my team and I built our own devices in order to provide clients with simpler and easier ways of monitoring their relaxation response. For example, we had a very simple machine which had an LED which switched from red when people were very anxious or very sympathetically aroused, and it went through to green as they started to become more relaxed. So this gave very quick and easy and reasonably accurate feedback about the state of their levels of anxiety. We also carried out studies using this device in which there are 4 lights which change from white when you have moved becoming more stressed or more relaxed, through to green, and then blue when you're very relaxed indeed. Since I first started my study, the sophisticating of GSR feedback has increased significantly, as has it available on the internet. If you want to buy such a device, then I suggest you check it out on Google and you'll see what I mean. In fact, we are getting rid of some of our devices and you'll find details of this. They are very simple. This is the device I've just shown you, which changes light colour from blue to red when you're very stressed. It's a good little device and it's something which we found very, very helpful. So we're getting rid of, we've got about 10 or 15 of these machines, which anybody who wants to can purchase. I've got the prices, we're just charging cost price for them to get them out of the laboratory. So that's so much for the commercial. In my next video, I'm going to talk about a third way of monitoring stress, or monitoring essentially sympathetic arousal, which means you're becoming more anxious, or the alternative, the opposite number, parasympathetic arousal, what's called parasympathetic arousal, which means you're becoming more and more deeply relaxed. And I'll be showing you ways of using heart rate variability and also skin temperature in order to monitor how you're becoming more relaxed or indeed more tense, and also how you can relax very quickly, easily and discreetly if, for example, you became anxious just before giving a presentation or while in a meeting. Until then, thank you very much for watching, and do please subscribe if you'd like Dan and I to keep you up to date with our latest practical suggestions and procedures for changing your life by changing your mind.